So good morning and welcome. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast Sunday morning celebration. And if there's anybody that's watching this morning or anytime, if you've never been to a Center for Spiritual Living before, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles, whoever you are and wherever you may find yourself on your journey of faith, you're welcome here. And to begin our service this morning, Reverend Jenna Watkins is going to open us with a prayer, and then one of our congregants, Barbara Loftus, is going to honor us with a spiritual reading.
I invite you all to settle back into your chairs, maybe close your eyes and take a nice deep breath, centering into this moment, centering into the awareness that there is a holy light that flows in, as, and through us, a divine light that flows through each and every one of us. A light of love and a light of peace. And it fills our whole beingness, enlightening us. We feel this energy flowing through us. For I know that where there is love, there is peace. And on this day, the 4th of July, I know that we welcome the experience of love and peace. For when love and peace are present, there is freedom. And we embrace this concept, this idea of freedom, for it is our birthright. It is the right that we have been given through our relationship with the divine, freedom. And as we allow these energies of love, peace, and freedom to flow through our hearts and our minds and our bodies, we center into this moment to experience community together, to experience that peace, that love, that freedom that we share in community. And we get together today to listen to a few words of inspiration, ideas, thoughts, feelings that we will experience as Reverend Dr. Reverend Ron speaks to us today, shares a message of making peace. I know that peace resides through us, and as we feel it, as we experience it, as we awaken to it, we allow it to expand out further than our church community, further than our cities and our states, but allow that energy, that consciousness to expand all the way around this globe, embracing all of life with the awareness of peace, with the awareness of love, and the experience of freedom. And for all of this, I do give thanks, and so it is.
The reading today is from Byron Katie's book called A Mind at Home with Itself: How Asking 4 Questions Can Free Your Mind, Open Your Heart, and Turn Your World Around. Buddha says that even one glimpse of the truth is worthy of our deepest respect. The basic realization that other people can't possibly be your problem, that it's your thoughts about them that are the problem. This realization is huge. This one insight will shake your whole world from top to bottom. And then when you question your specific thoughts about mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife, boss, colleague, child, you watch your identity unravel. Losing the you that you thought you were isn't a scary thing. It's thrilling. It's fascinating. Who are you really behind all the facades? The Buddha talks about a life transformed by insight and lived in perfect clarity. This might sound exaggerated or idealistic, but it's the simple truth. It really is possible to live a life of perfect clarity without a single problem. All it takes is the willingness to question whatever stressful thoughts arise in the mind. I want, I need, he should, she shouldn't. The unexamined thoughts that argue with reality and cause all of the suffering in our lives. Once the nature of the mind is understood, suffering can't exist. Emotions such as sadness, anger, and resentment are the effects of believing our stressful thoughts. When we learn how to question these thoughts, they lose their power over us. Eventually, if a stressful thought arises, questioning arises at the same instant and the thought unravels before it can have any effect. This leaves us with nothing but peace and a lot of silent laughter.
Thank you, Barb. And thank you, Reverend Jenna. So today's the 4th of July. I just want to say to everybody, happy 4th. And I want to speak today about peace. But before I do, I just want to say to all you people who are local to us, we're really excited that a week from today, next Sunday, July 11th, we're going to be coming back live. And we're going to be doing a hybrid service. We'll be live, but we're also going to continue just like we are today on Zoom. But if any of you are local, we'll be at the Unity of Melbourne Church, which is 2401 North Harbor City Boulevard in the chapel. We begin at 10, but we also have a meditation from 9:30 to 9:45, and everybody is welcome. We'd love to see you. And if you're going to come, please wear a mask. So again, today I want to speak about making peace, which seems like a really appropriate topic for the 4th of July, but I want to speak about inner peace. And one of the things that those of us in New Thought know is that peace is a choice. It's experiencing the presence of God. When we dissolve all thoughts of separation, we experience peace. And peace, peace isn't the absence of pain or conflict. It's the ability to deal with adversity in the midst of suffering, because we're all going to have some type of difficulty in our life. And we need to learn how to still be at peace on the inside, no matter what's expressing on the outside. And in my book, Experiencing the Beacon Within, I relate a story that Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk, tells. And he said that in the days when people were trying to escape from Vietnam, and they would crowd in refugee boats. And he said when a storm came or pirates came, if everybody panicked, the boat would capsize. He said, but if only one person remained calm and centered, it was enough to save everybody. Think about that now. One person centered in God was sufficient to save everybody on one of those boats. It isn't situations that cause stress. It's our thought about the situation. And if you need proof of this, just try to think of any kind of a situation that's difficult. And actually, it doesn't even have to be difficult. Any situation, and how different people react in different ways. And years ago, I read this story that to me really exemplifies what I'm trying to say. And it's a true story about two young men who were roommates in college. One was Italian, and the other was Japanese, both Italian American and Japanese American, but that was their different backgrounds. And the young fellow who was from an Italian background, his grandfather died. And he's the one that wrote this article I read. And he said, when they went to the cemetery, there was all kinds of screaming and crying. And in fact, one of the relatives even tried to jump into the grave. He said it was mass confusion. And 2 or 3 months after that, he came home to the room one day. And when he opened up the door, all of the lights were off. And his roommate was sitting in the midst of a circle of lit candles, quiet and peaceful. And when his roommate stopped doing what he was doing and he asked him what happened, he said, I was meditating because my grandfather died. Same kind of stimulus, but a very different response. And to me, it just shows how it's not the situation, it's our thoughts. You know, when we're feeling stress, we can change our thoughts and bring forth one that speaks to peace. Let me give you an example. Ernest Holmes says that when we're confused, we can stop and say this: I am submerged in peace. I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. You know, if you're comfortable, close your eyes and I'll read it again and see if you don't experience what he's talking about. I am submerged in peace. I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in peace. There is nothing but peace. Peace, deep, calm, undisturbed. We can go there anytime we choose. You know, I find it amazing, and perhaps some of you do, that we can read about people who have lost everything. Might be their money in a business venture, might be their health, might be a relationship, a child, you just name it, no matter what it is, but they can still be in a deep state of peace and acceptance. And we don't need to wait till we're in discomfort to make this discovery. We can decide anytime we choose to live our life from the inside out. Let me tell you a story I read years ago. I'm sure it's a fable, but it makes the point. A farmer advertises for somebody to come work on his farm, and a young man applies for the job. And the farmer says to him, what are your qualifications? And the young man responds, I can sleep when the wind blows. And truthfully, the farmer really doesn't know what it means, but he likes the kid, and so he hires him. A few nights later, in the middle of the night, the farmer and his wife are awakened by a violent storm, and they go to check things out. And they see that the shutters on the farmhouse are securely fastened. There's a good supply. They go and look at the fireplace, and there's a good supply of logs next to the fireplace. The tools are all locked up in the tool shed. The tractor is moved into the garage. The stable, the barn is locked, and all the animals are calm. And through all of this, the young man slept. And then the farmer got what he meant when he said, I can sleep when the wind blows. The young man did his work when the skies were clear, so he was prepared when the storm broke. You know, you and I, we can do our spiritual work so we too can be prepared when our life turns unpleasant, when difficult times come. I read this little poem the other day that kind of makes the point too. It isn't the things you do, it's the things you left undone that gives you a bit of heartache at the setting of the sun. In her book, Soul Shifts, Barbara DeAngelis also makes this point. She says to change something on the surface, you change the source and then go from there. You go to the root beneath the surface and everything will change. And she gives an example that she once heard about. And the example is, if you have a plant in your house and the leaves are turning brown and withering, you don't say to yourself, I'll go water the leaves. No, you go to the source. You go to the roots and to the soil and nourish the plant from there. The only way to make permanent shifts in our life is when we make them on the inside. And when you shift on the inside, everything on the outside changes. And she doesn't call it a formula, but Barbara sort of gives when I read it, I thought it was a formula. She said, to improve the quality of your life, you must improve the quality of your choices. And to improve the quality of your choices, you must improve the quality of your thoughts and emotions. And to improve the quality of your thoughts and emotions, you need to change the quality of your consciousness. You shift everything when you change the quality of your consciousness. Another spiritual writer that I really enjoy is Matt Kahn. In fact, several years ago, we used his book in our book group. And he writes about the heart of surrender. And he said the heart of surrender, he defines it as a shift in our heart-centered consciousness. And what it is, he says, instead of trying to control things I can't, you redefine how you relate to the world. And he said, you access this heart by asking a series of questions. And here's the two questions that he suggests. First one is, what happens if I stop fighting the things that seem to fight with me? What happens if I stop fighting the things that seem to be fighting with me? And the second one is, what happens instead of trying to change the behavior of others, I become the first one to stop fighting, even if others still fight with me? What happens if instead of trying to change the behavior of others, I become the first one to stop fighting, even if the others still fight with me? I want to share a fable with you. And the fable is about an old wise woman who's traveling in the mountains. And one morning, she gets a little tired and she kneels by a stream to wash her face. And there's a stone that catches her eye. So she picks it up. And when she has it in her hand and she holds it up to the light, she realizes that it's a gem, a rare gem of incredible value. And she looks at it and she slips the stone into her backpack. And a little while later, she runs into a young man who's tired and hungry, and they're going to the same town. And he's really hungry, so she stops and she gives him some food and they chat. And somehow when she opens up her bag again, he sees the stone, the gem, and he realizes if he had that gem, it would set him up for life. And he even thinks to himself, what if I just took it and ran? She couldn't stop me. And then he says, no, I'm not a thief. And he says to her, is that what I think it is? And she says, yes, it is. And he asks her for it. He says, may I have it? And she says, sure. And she gives it to him and they go their separate ways. And a few days later, he comes back to her again and he gives her back the gem. And he said, you know, what I would really like, I would like the true gift. I would like whatever you have within you that enabled you to give me that gem so easily. If I could have that, I'd have the true treasure of life. I would live in peace forever. And so he became her disciple and followed her. I want to share with you a definition of peace that really struck me when I read it this week. It's David Hawkins' definition of peace. He says, in peace, there's no longer any conflict. And he doesn't mean external, he means internal. There's no more internal conflict. There's a total absence of negativity. There's an all-encompassing, I really like this, an all-encompassing lovingness. And he says it's experienced, this all-encompassing lovingness is experienced as serenity, as tranquility, as timelessness, stillness, contentment. In short, he says, there's an inner quiet. The spiritual teacher Joel Goldsmith, in one of his books, opens a chapter by quoting Jesus, saying, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, I give unto you. And Goldsmith says, this is the peace that we must cling to, even when there's turmoil in our outer life, that God's peace is in and through everything, in and through every kind of discord. It's the peace that passes all understanding. And he says it's the peace that comes from this realization, which I'll end this morning with. I will never leave you or forsake you. If you walk through the water, I will be with you. Wherever you go, I will go. Your people shall be my people. I will never leave you or forsake you. Wherever you go, I will go. Yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will walk with you. I will be with you. I will be in you, and I will be through you. Fear not, fear not. I am with you. God bless you. Have a wonderful 4th and a great week. And thank you for being here this morning, or wherever and whenever you view this message.